Hi, I'm Jesse Hilbert.
Hi, I'm Charlie Hubbard.
And welcome
to Arnavon
Adventures.
Adventure. This is Season 3, Episode 14, The
The Summer Scarab. Today's arthropod can be found around summertime here in eastern United States and even all the way down into Texas. As adults, they enjoy munching on ripe fruit and boast a beautiful green exoskeleton. And then what do we always say? Can
you guess what it is?
Today's episode brings us to the world of the green June beetle. That's right, we didn't say bug, beetle. Now, we had a request for a scarab beetle from a listener, and we're always happy to oblige our fans. Now, some people, as I said earlier, about a second ago, it's not a June bug. Some people do call this a June bug. It's a beetle, though, right, Char?
Why would you say that?
Are beetles true bugs?
No,
because true bugs belong to the order Hemiptera, and beetles belong to the order Caloptera.
Yeah. Basically, but...
Now,
yeah.
I'm always amazed that certain animals can have different common names or the same common names depending on where you are.
We just learned, my dad just, we learned that, dung beetles eat poop cake.
Dung beetles eat poop cake. Yes, that's from that great book, Bugs Don't Hug. Go get that one if you don't. Now, here in Connecticut, I always associated the name June bug with a tiny brownish, reddish beetle that once crawled in my brother's ear while he was a child. But that is not today's arthropod.
And then what happened?
No, it scared him, and then we had to get it out.
How did you get it out?
Grandpa and Grandma Leslie used a flashlight, and it crawled out.
It was in there.
It was in there, yeah.
It was like in his...
Not in his cheek, in his ear.
So, and they couldn't get it out?
Yeah, it came out. Or maybe it's still in there living with Uncle Stefan. That would explain some things.
It's actually living with Uncle Stefan?
No. So, today's arthropod, we speak about a much larger and greener beetle. But its description will come in a bit. The scientific name for this beetle, Charlie, is Cotinus nitida. Try that. Cotinus nitida. Its etymology really gave me a run for its money, but this one was... Wait, stop. Wait, I can't read right.
Savvy, I can read.
You're going to read that? Go ahead.
Where are you?
Come on. So, the etymology can really give me a run for its money sometimes, but this one was pretty easy. Its genus, Cotinus, comes from the Latin word for olive, and its species, nitida, comes from the Latin word for shiny or handsome. So it basically means it's a shiny, handsome beetle.
So handsome means you're so cute.
Yeah, that's right. Now, as I mentioned, this is a scarab beetle, and the scarab beetles are a family within the order Caloptera, and this family makes up over 30... Do you know this number? This one right here.
The 000?
Yeah, the 0001. What's the first one?
35?
35,000. There are 35,000 different species.
Oh.
And there are some unique body features that set them apart. The main one that we're going to talk about...
What if you change it to 53 and then 5,300,000?
Oh, that'd be silly. So we're going to take a look at their antennas. And at the end, they have these plate-like structures called lamellets. Lamellets? And these are the plate-like structures that give the scarab beetle this fan-like antennas that can either be open, or when they close, they kind of look more like a club. And the word, a little more etymology for you, the word lamellate, it's got a magic E maybe, lamellate, comes from the Latin lamella, meaning thin plate or scale. So scarab beetles also typically have stout, ovalish bodies, and many of them have their front pair of legs specialized for digging. What other beetle did we do recently that was good at digging?
A dung beetle.
A dung beetle, which are also scarab beetles.
Yeah, they also look like children.
Yeah.
And they push their poop into a poo-poo.
Yeah. Now, their larvae, Charlie, are usually called...
Fun of them.
We don't make fun of people, yeah. Now, their larvae are called grubs. Now, there are no absolutes in the world, but we pretty much call them grubs. And some of them are shaped like C's. They're large, thick, kind of palish, whitish in color. Right?
Yeah, can you guess who it is?
You're funny. We're taking a brief break from the show to share some excitingness. I know it's not a real word, but excitingness about a brand that we are working with called Dead Bird EcoWear. And it's more than just a clothing brand. Dead Bird EcoWear is a movement committed to restoring the earth. And as a proud veteran-owned business, they dedicate a portion of every purchase to global tree planting initiatives. Wear the change you want to be and wear the change you want to see, and make a positive impact with every outfit. Plus, listeners of Arthropod Adventures can use the code in all caps arthropod_adventures_podcast for 25% off their purchase. So join us in supporting sustainability and our veterans. Shop Dead Bird EcoWear. Vaca. That means cow. I don't know beetle in Spanish. We'll have to look that. We'll have to ask Abuela.
Cabrito.
So, as we talked about when we discussed their scientific name, these beetles are an olive or greenish in color as adults, and they can grow pretty large, about an inch or so long and about half an inch thick. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good because then they go to Hamatara and they go into the Ohio.
So the majority of their exoskeleton is green, but that's not their only color. The edge of their bodies running around
orange, pink, purple.
Well, beetles do come in all those colors, but this one has an edge running around the bottom of their pronotum, and their elytras that are a yellowish brown color.
Did you know young beetles are rainbow?
That's what we did a couple weeks ago, yeah. And the top of their elytras can also have the same color in the center, based on some of the pictures that I've seen. But it really depends on the exact beetle, as they each kind of look a little different.
They each look like a vaca, a pig.
Now, their underside and legs are more of metallic green mixed with the same golden colors that make up the we just talked about. Overall, I would say they are a pretty robust beetle. When in their larval stage, they are a white or cream-colored grub with a darker head that can grow to be 2 inches long.
I say the number.
Oh, you do say. Sorry. Say that.
2
inches
long
in length. Now, when it's time for mating, the female will send out pheromones, which eager males will smell and come running, or flying, if you will. And according to Kansas State article by Dr. Raymond Cloyt, and I quote, "The male beetles swarm in the morning, dive bombing to and fro, just above managed or unmanaged grassy areas where females are located," end quote. This flying is noted by many for not only their flying ability, but also for the sounds that they make. It kind of makes, I heard it described as this sound chart. Zzz, what other animal makes that sound?
Bee.
Yeah, so they think it kind of sounds like bumblebees. Now, the mating process is not always the prettiest, but many male beetles will attempt to mate with a single female, having been attracted by her pheromones. Once the mating has occurred, the female will dig into the ground and lay her eggs between
10 to 30.
30
Have them in
groups
that are
apparently
the
size
of the
walnut. Good job. And it only takes a couple of weeks for them to hatch. Once they hatch, they will munch on the food that lays all around them, the ground. And this is where they draw the hatred of many of a human, as they will eat root systems and disrupt the growth of turf. As they get bigger, they can leave some pretty large holes that lead to the surface, where they will feed as well. The larvae will continue to grow through summer and overwinter as grubs. And once late spring comes, they will be ready to pupate. And when they're ready, they use the soil around them to make a special substance they produce to create a protective chamber. This pupation will take 2 to 3. That's a dash. 2 to 3 weeks to complete. And once done, they will emerge as an adult and begin their life cycle anew. This is typically towards the end of June, which then leads to the mating process, which takes place in July, hence the name June beetle. So.
Like
July.
What?
Yeah. So the next time you think you hear a bumblebee flying towards you, I encourage you to take a closer look, especially if you find yourself in an orchard. For the adult beetles do love the tasty fruit.
But if you're allergic to them, you just have to quietly walk inside and shut the door before they come.
Always great advice. And you may find a clumsy green flyer instead of that bumblebee that you think you hear.
We have those in our house.
So thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
If you have an arthropod you would love to hear about, want to tell us what you think about the show, or found one of our mistakes, send us an email at arthropodadventurespodcast@gmail.com. And you can find us on Instagram at arthropod_adventures_podcast and follow us there. And thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Never stop learning. Show your show notes and never stop learning.
Stay inquisitive.
And never stop learning.
And always check out the show notes you're ready.